Okay, this is our original JackPad. This is what we originally made. Actually, it's not the original one, but it's the one we sold and bought. The original one actually had a flat plate that did not have a magnet, had a flat plate on the bottom of it that went around a top of a jack. But that was a lot of trouble and there's too many jacks out there that you'd have to make one for each one. So we threw that out the window and came up with this. This works. And if this was the pinch weld, that's how that works. And usually the rocker panel is usually hanging down a little lower than your pinch weld, so that spaces it up so you don't hit it as you jack it up. The issue with that was, as the car is lifted, it's going to be at an angle, and the jack pad wants to stay straight. So when it does that, it wants to break this leg off rather than bend the pinch weld. So the next one we came out with was this one. It works great, still does, we still sell it. It works, it's just a spacer, and that's all you really need. And as the car comes up, it can rock, which you need it to rock. And by the way, a pinch weld is made so you pick it up from the bottom of the pinch weld, not up in here. So these work great, but a lot of people didn't like the rocking of it. And I can see why. If you're on a very rough surface and the floor jack doesn't want to roll for you and it stays there, then something has to give, because as the floor jack comes up, it wants to bend this and it wants to flip it off. So we don't want that to happen. So then we came out with the new one we now have, which have many features. The first feature is it's got a plastic, like our original one, has a plastic insert to keep from scratching the bottom of the pinch weld. It also has more area to hold it. It still doesn't come up and touch the floor pan, which you don't want it to do, or the outer rocker panel. And it's got a heavy bottom plate to keep it flat. This works very well. We also added a tag because, like me, I've driven my car with these still on by accident, forgetting to remove them after I jacked my car up. They were still there when I came back, but it's not a good idea. You don't want to leave them on. So we have this on there so you know to remove them. Now the Ford Mustang is a little different than anybody else. It only has a 2-inch opening up in the rocker panel. So we make this one, it's called the Universal. It'll fit the Camaro, the Challenger, the Focus. It'll fit all the cars. And it works the same way as the heavy use one, which is this one. It's just this one, I didn't want to just make this part because it would sink into the plastic on top of some of the floor jacks. So we put the base on it. That's what the base was for. And then the new one we make, it's a 2-inch also, and it gives you the space for the Ford. That's the only difference. The Fords are different than anybody else, the Mustang. They require a 2-inch jack pad, whereas everybody else requires a 3-inch. By most of the people really liking this one, this is the one we really try to push. It's the best one out there. We actually made, this extrusion is specifically made for us. We own the rights to it. It's a patented design, and we own the tooling to it also. And that's how that works.